Welcome back to the FoMSCast, everybody. My name is Michael. I'm your VP Advocacy, Accessibility, and Equity, and I'm back with another special episode. Today I'm here with another presidential candidate. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Noah, and I'm running to be your next USC president. I'm in my fourth year of medical sciences with a double major in One Health and Pathology. And yeah, I'm so excited to be on the show today.
So, the debate was on Thursday. It's Sunday now, so that was, 4 days ago?
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel coming out of it?
Going into the process, I kind of knew I wasn't the strongest public speaker. So, something going through the presidential process that I was like, this is going to be a big day for me and a big day for growth. I think that's really what it was. Like, being able to kind of pitch my case in front of that many people was a huge moment for me, and I'm happy to have been able to get through it. Although I feel like some of my points weren't delivered as strongly as I would have hoped and the way I would have imagined. I'm still proud that I got the experience to do it.
Mm-hmm. How are you finding, like, the public speaking, just talking to people? Is that different from being on, like, the LST, having to talk to a bunch of different softs?
I don't know what it is. Like, talking to people one-on-one, talking to smaller groups, it's like, okay, especially once I'm comfortable with them. But I feel like talking in front of a group of people like that, like, some of them are inherently not against you in a way.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot more daunting, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And also the time pressure of having to, like, with your answers.
Yeah.
Because you want to, like, have the maximum impact.
Mm-hmm.
But with the time, it's a little, like, can I say all this? Can I get every single point out? So I think that's something that's a little different than talking to my club or to my people, my friends at Bay.
And knowing that you'll get cut off, because how much time did you have? Like, was it 10 seconds or
40
something?
seconds
40 seconds
for a question.
Yeah.
But some of the questions could be loaded in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so that's multiple different points that you have to hit.
Yeah.
You have to hit them well because you only get one shot at it.
So in 3 words or less, can you describe your platform for us?
Okay. I think the 3 words I'd use to describe it are friendly, inclusive, and serving.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so the whole theme of my campaign is to show friends. And what I really wanted to capture with that is just the idea that the USC is there to support you. And I feel like in the show friends, what we see is a family. We see people coming together, knowing each other. So that's really what I want to encapsulate. I want to have the USC be a place where students know what's going on and know how to find help when they need it, like just like a friend would. And then the next word I chose was inclusive. So some points on my platform was one, advocating for gender neutral washrooms and Taylor and then social sci. I feel like that's a huge part of allowing students to be comfortable and allowing people to feel like they belong here at Western. And the third word I chose was unifying. So unifying in a way because I feel like that's what I really want to encapsulate at Western, especially with the Friends theme going along with that. Unifying in that if you were marginalized in a way that you were food insecure, you'd be unified and brought back into the USC and brought back into the USC bubble to be able to get food when you need it.
That was actually one of my questions was why do you choose the Friends theme to go with? So I guess that answers that a little bit.
Yeah, I think also to elaborate on that, choosing the Friends theme, like it's just not something that you typically see with a campaign. Like, you typically see a color, and especially because I heard a couple inklings that many people could be running. So picking like one of the typical colors seemed a little risky to me. So I wanted to go with something a little different, and the way I did it was choosing a theme. Especially as a resident soft, we always choose a theme for our floor. So I figured, why not have a theme for my campaign as well?
Yeah, I will say it seems like half the candidate colors are red.
Yeah,
just like a different shade of red. So that's cool. You said during the debate that you don't want to make false promises about advocacy, so you left it kind of out of your platform. But do you have any goals or things you want to try to get done during your term?
Yeah, so something I've got the experience of doing this past year was going to USA. And if USA, like, you're working on different policy papers, and these policy papers you kind of take the feedback that you learn from students. And something through my consultations I've been able to learn is that a lot of students have very similar issues, mainly surrounding affordability, especially when it comes to rent, and when it comes to food, and then when it comes to, I say another big one is also transit, not necessarily an affordability, but as an advocacy point.
Mm-hmm.
So through all of those, I'm definitely going to be pushing through these position papers that I'm going to be advocating for, and through talking to local members of parliament, members of provincial parliament, and the municipal government. So those are definitely 3 big priorities for me, just having accessible bus times, cheaper rent, and then making sure that students can get food. So another way I address food insecurity was through my Mustang Munches program. So I think one thing that I kind of realized is if I can do it at home and on campus, that's an approach I'm going to take, whereas I'll leave the advocacy kind of up in the air, especially since I will be working with a vice president of external affairs and the vice president of university affairs, who will also be assisting in that advocacy efforts. I think it's a conversation that we'll end up having ultimately once they're elected,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll decide our main priorities. But through my consultations, I've already heard some that I will be advocating for strongly.
Yeah, transit has been something that's been talked about amongst music students for a long time because, if especially for folks who have a bigger instrument, it's hard to get onto a crammed bus with a tuba, right? But then also rehearsals here can go as late as 10, 11 o'clock at night on a weeknight sometimes, and then it's very limited options to get home after that.
Yeah, 100%. I think the 31 and 27 aren't running it past those hours. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so in terms of engagement, music students are some of the busiest people on campus. We've got a really heavy workload and a bunch of stuff that we have to do that aren't built into our schedules. And it seems like we're often forgotten kind of at the bottom of the hill, whereas everyone else is up at the top of the heart of campus. So how do you plan to engage music students with the USC?
Some of the strongest things that we can do to really support the music students and make sure they're engaged is just reaching out to them and reaching out to you guys at the faculty council level, as well as making sure that we have a presence in the music building and not just at the top of the hill, as you mentioned. So in talking to my first year Matthew, he talked about finding times to chat with him. He talked about his big schedule and having not much free time. And he also talked about opportunities that would really appeal to him, like open mic nights at the Spoke and stuff of that nature, where he can kind of express his music abilities. Some of those stuff already do exist, but I think what really can change is how we promote it and how we make sure that music students feel like it's marketed towards them. So whether that's setting up a booth in the music building and just sharing it that way, or really getting involved in the faculty councils and making it almost a collab event, that way that the music faculty council can kind of take pride and ownership over that event rather than it just being a USC event.
Yeah, and so a lot of USC events, they have performers, they have DJs come in. They're usually outside of Western. Do you have any plans to involve music students in USC programming?
Yeah, I think that's a great effort that one of my best approaches to ensuring music students are engaged and having a strong campus. That's a really approach I love to take. Especially with the Fam Jam, what I saw there is so many students really enjoyed that. So I want to continue events such as that throughout the year. And I think having open night mics or karaoke's in the spoken wave, really inviting music students to kind of take the lead on that, because they're skilled in that. So yeah, and even when it comes to DJs for openings and stuff like that, I think it'd be lovely to have music students and definitely a way to really promote it. Because one thing I truly believe in is that when a student takes ownership and is able to be in a role, they really fill the shoes very well. And that's an approach I'm really taking with clubs as well. Giving them that weekly spotlight to really showcase the events that they're running. And once you give somebody the spotlight, they love it and they own it and they promote it so much better than you could ever do it.
One of the issues I've seen talked about most between the candidates is and this is something that's talked about every single year, is the lack of dance spaces on campus.
Mm.
I know it was talked a little bit about during the debate. Do you have any plans for that?
Yeah, so for dance spaces, this is an issue I've myself have dealt with over the past few years, being part of Kaiser Fashion Show as well as BSA Fashion Show, and now currently African Student Association Culture Show. I think this is an issue that really needs to be addressed like strongly. The way I hope to address this is just making it easier for students to be able to book these spaces, these for clubs and for even non-ratified groups to be able to book these spaces. Because right now there's movable mirrors that are owned by the USC, but sometimes it's often difficult to have these mirrors moved to the spaces where the students need them. So helping the clubs with a unified club platform and also how-to guides is going to be important, and really letting clubs know that those resources are there, as well as providing an open door to the club's managers to be able to help students and student groups book these spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So, something I also kind of mentioned in the debate is an issue I personally dealt with was the fact that a lot of the floors, if we were in the tunnels, would be a little dusty. So something I suggested was having a small like squeeze mop available to students, because ultimately there is a lot of groups and sometimes it may end up that there's overflow. So providing a mop, something of that nature, is very beneficial. Another thing that I heard in the debate coming from Mauritius was turning that space in Mustang Lounge when it's not being used into 3 dance spaces for other groups. I thought that was a great solution, and that's something I'd like to adopt if elected.
Mm-hmm. And another one of the questions I got here is, it's kind of broad, but why is the faculty of music important to you? We're the smallest faculty. You know, there's not a lot of votes to be had here. So I guess, yeah, why are we important?
So the faculty of music is very important to me. I think some of the strengths that you guys provide to this university are huge. Like a lot of students who are coming from the music faculty of music, like one of my good friends, Chris, I saw him at the radio taking part in the radio. So I think a huge strength of this faculty is the way that you guys are able to bridge this community together, whether that's through the radio show, whether that's through the marching band, with some of the unique skill sets that you guys bring. So I think this is an incredible faculty and brings an incredible community and really is strong in this. Like honestly, like being a soph myself, the past few weeks, seeing you guys come out there and do your fam jam 1, but also come out there on O week and have performers and have your first years be able to perform on stage for closing ceremonies. That's incredible to me. So this is one of the strongest faculties, and I believe that you guys really do matter, and I want to make sure that you guys succeed, because ultimately I want to see every student succeed. But especially one approach that I really do take in my platform is looking at the marginalized groups and bringing them up and uplifting them. And right now it's easy to see that music students may feel marginalized because you guys are at the bottom of the hill. You guys may not be necessarily represented strongly in the council and in the activities that we run. So I want to make sure that all music students feel included and represented.
Mm-hmm. And then kind of shifting away from that a little bit, so the USC has cut ties with Greek Life, claiming that they promote a toxic culture, and last year 85% of the council voted against reinstating them. You've mentioned you want to what's the word? You want to bring them back in and promote them. So what's your plan to kind of convince the rest of campus to accept them after their not so stellar reputation, I guess?
Okay. So with this platform point, what I really wanted to do was just take a baby step and bring Greek Life back to Western. There's thousands of students who are part of Greek Life, so being able to call them back in a way that is beneficial for the community is a baby step that I want to take. With all the students who are part of Greek Life, one thing that is beneficial to the community is philanthropy. So if we could work on philanthropy after getting training and have a lot of it to happen on campus, I think Greek life can really get more integrated into the USC and really understand the USC and really care more about the USC.
Mhm.
That's my main goal, is making sure that every student feels supported by the USC and knows that the USC can support them.
And then, so this is my last question that I have here. In your own words, what is the role of the USC president?
So with my campaign, I kind of have a friends team, and I see the USC as as friends. I think the role of the USC president is to be the head friend, the head person who's going to be there for you. Like the song goes, "I'll be there for you." And the USC president needs to be there for the students. The USC president should be attending events run by students. Feel like the students have the students feel like they're their best friend. Whether that's opening their doors for students to come consult at any point, whether that's attending as many club events and faculty council events as possible. That's what I think the role of the USC president is. And more so than that, also, of course, doing the behind-the-scenes work, fighting tooth and nail for students. I think that's the role of the USC president.
Mhm. And then if there's anything else in your platform you want to talk about or bring up kind of at the last few days of the campaign period here, feel free. If there's anything else you want to talk about. If not, we'll wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the proudest points and favorite points of my platform is the Mustang Munches program, which aims to address food insecurity within our campus. So inspired by Dalhousie University and McMaster University, who's currently running a referendum to make it happen this year, it's going to provide over 500 students with free food throughout the year. So that's one of the proudest platform points that I'd love to bring up and share with the music students. It will be running at the UCC. So I understand that might be a barrier to music students having access to it, but I'd love to chat more with the faculty and see how we could possibly bridge it out to make sure that more students have the ability to reach it.
And so, like, what's specifically, I guess, does that program look like? Like, where's the food come from? How would we distribute it?
Yeah, so after consultations with Mark Leonard, the senior manager that oversees the Wave and the Spoke, we talked about it being the food being made at the Wave and then distributed at the community room in the UCC.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it'll be a lot more difficult to kind of move it across campus, but that's kind of how I envision the program working.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much for coming on. If there's anything else you'd like to add.
And there's one more thing I would like to add. It's stay tuned to all my content on Instagram at Noah Mats for USC. This way you'll stay up to date on my policy and my platform and see me around campus. Hope to see you guys soon. Bye, music.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much.